Hey YouTube fam, thank you so much for being here. As always, my gratitude for this community is so big. Truly, you all have honestly changed my life in a way that feels so exciting and so big. So thank you for being here. We're gonna jump into another playful and fun, spicy practice with a good amount of core work for today's practice. Before we do, a couple of things. I am leading a January meditation group. This is the second year that I'm doing this, and it will be daily live meditations for the whole month of January in a private Instagram group. It's completely donation based, so there's no base fee to join. Anyone can join who is interested. And I'll put links and more info to that below. I also have a membership site that is called The Kula, and I upload 3 full classes per week, as well as some meditations, and there's a community page where you get full access to ask me questions and communicate with me about your yoga practice, and then some live offerings as well. So if you're interested in my membership site, I've created a discount code for my YouTube fam to try a month half off, your first month half off. So code and links for that are also below. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into our practice. And we're actually going to start just by coming to a forward fold at the top of the mat. So land with your feet hip width distance apart. Clasp opposite elbows and find a bit of a sway from side to side. Drop the weight of the head, maybe shake the head, yes, no, roll out the back of the neck. Maybe even open and close the mouth a couple of times here to roll out the jaw. Space which holds a lot of tension for us humans, and energetically is a space that is connected to our voice and our ability to speak up and our ability to be heard. Fill up the lungs a lot, and then a little bit more. Open the mouth, exhale, move it through. Stay folded forward. Take all 10 fingers to interlace and circle out the wrists, rolling them out in one direction and then rolling them out in the other. Bend into the knees until the hips land on top of the heels. We're going to bring the hips all the way to the floor. Reach the fingertips forward. Keep the feet hip width distance apart, and using the strength of the core, roll onto the back body one vertebrae at a time. Let the hands come down by the sides and then ground into the heels, lift the hips, bridge pose. Engaging into the glutes and down the back side of the body. Squeeze knees towards each other. One vertebrae at a time. Lower the spine back down to the mat. Once the hips are down to the floor, extend the legs up towards the ceiling, flex the toes, and we're going to use the strength of the core to lift the hips and tap the toes above the head. Some variation of your plow pose. It's okay if the toes don't reach the floor. We're going to roll from this shape all the way back into our forward fold at the top of the mat. So one vertebrae at a time, lowering down the spine. Bend into the knees, as little momentum as possible to roll up, plant the feet, forward fold, Uttanasana. Roll up the spine, one vertebrae at a time. Bringing yourself all the way up to standing. Arms circle up overhead, palms touch. Open the heart. On your exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Bend into the knees, hips to the heels. With as little assistance from hands as possible, lower hips to the floor. Strength of the core to roll all the way down the back body. Landing with the feet hip width, hands down by the sides, lift the hips, bridge pose, squeeze knees towards each other, and then with your breath, exhale, lower back down one vertebrae at a time. Once the hips meet the mat, extend legs up towards the ceiling, flex the toes, strength of the core to lift the hips, and roll the toes over, tapping the floor or hovering above the floor behind you. One vertebrae at a time, roll the hips all the way back down. We're coming to our forward fold, bend into the knees, plant the feet, lift the hips, Uttanasana. Roll your way all the way to standing, one vertebrae at a time to come up. Arms sweep up overhead, palms touch, open heart. Exhale, dive it forward, Uttanasana, forward fold. We've got one more round. Bend into the knees, hips to the heels. Without using the hands if possible, hips to the floor, strength of the core to roll your way down the back body one vertebrae at a time. Hands to the sides, ground into the heels, drive the hips up towards the ceiling. On your exhale, one vertebrae at a time. Lower the spine all the way back down. Once the hips meet the mat, extend the legs up, flex the toes, strength of the core to lift the hips, roll the toes behind the head, plow pose or some variation of it. On your exhale, roll back down the spine, one vertebrae at a time, bending into the knees, plant the feet, forward fold, top of the mat. In breath, right toes sweep high, bend the knee, open the hip. Option to reach left hand to hold onto the right toes. If you've got that clasp on the foot, find a bit of a kick. Maybe right hand hovers or right hand reaches for left ankle, testing balance. Forward fold to the top of the mat, right foot plants next to the left. Inhale, left toes sweep high. Bend the knee, open the hip. Option to reach right hand for left toes, find a bit of a kick into the hand. Option to bring left hand for the right ankle, testing your balance. One point of focus for your gaze will help your balance. This is called your drishti. Your gaze is your drishti. Both feet to the top of the mat, forward fold, Uttanasana, one vertebrae at a time. Roll your way all the way to standing. Head and neck last to lift. Arms circle up, palms touch, open heart. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. In breath, halfway lift, fill up, long spine. Exhale, fold, plant hands, plank pose, step back, wrists underneath the shoulders. Press the floor away. Lifting up and out of the back body. Come up onto the right fingertips, the left fingertips, right hand down, left hand down. Come up onto the left fingertips, the right, left hand down, right hand down. Right fingertips, left, right hand down, left hand down. Last time, left fingertips, right, left hand down, right hand down. Take a big step forward with both hands. You're hollowing out your plank shape. Hold. Pressing the floor away from you, so you're shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears. I did the first ever handstand workshop that I attended as a student. I think we did this for like the whole time. Great strength building for handstand. Drop the forearms to the floor. Adjusting as needed to land in a forearm plank. Elbows directly underneath the shoulders. Press the floor away. So again, lifting up and out of the shoulder sockets. On your exhale, we're gonna lean to the right, tap the right hip towards the floor, and then back through center, lean over to the left. Back through center to the right, and then center over to the left. Keep moving back and forth a couple of times, just building some inner heat here. Or in the yoga practice, we can reference the tapas, the heat building and self-disciplined portion of our practice. Take a couple more each side. Building, again, that inner fire that will fuel your practice today. And then finding your way back through neutral, drop the knees to the floor, untuck the toes, roll the belly and the hips down and through Sphinx Pose, shoulder blades pull into the back body. Stay here or lift the elbows, getting a little bit of a deeper back bend, only as long as that feels supported for the low back. Take an inhale. On your exhale, forearms to the floor, slide the hands back underneath the shoulders, tuck onto the toes, press all the way back up, plank pose, wrists underneath the shoulders, and then from the tailbone, roll the hips back, landing in our first down dog of practice. Pedal out the feet, bend into one knee, and then the other knee, shifting hips side to side, movement that feels good in the body. Come up high onto the toes, take a deep bend into the knees, exhale, step walk, hop or handstand, feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, bend into the knees, send the hips back, send the heart forward. Ground into the heels, come all the way through standing, open up the heart. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. On your in-breath, halfway lift, lengthen spine. Exhale, fold, plant hands, plank pose, step back. We're gonna lift the right toes to a hover above the mat and then bend into the elbows, lower halfway pause. Squeeze right heel into the glutes. Tap the right toes off to the left side of the mat. As you come back through center, press up, bring right knee to right elbow. Step the right foot to the outside of right hand. Drop the left knee down, option to bend into the left knee, circling right hand around to hold onto the left toes. Spin the right shoulder open and lean the upper body into the space behind. And then as we unravel, both hands back to the floor. We're gonna lift the left knee. Both hands are on the inside of the right foot. Find a little bit of a bounce with the hips here just for a moment. Where we are headed from here is back into a figure 4 down dog. So we're gonna ground into the left foot. And as we send the hips back, bend into the left knee, right ankle stacks on top of the left knee. So sending hips towards back of the mat, pulling heart back. We're gonna drop right knee to the floor and right toes are tucked under. This might feel like a lot. You can stay here, or you can walk the hands forward and sink the heart down towards the floor. You could stay here, or you could walk the hands over to the left. There's gonna be a little bit more intensity, shifting the right shoulder down. Really getting into the hip here. One more cycle of breath. And then mindfully, slowly, we're gonna unravel back with wrists underneath the shoulders. Keeping the wrists here, we're gonna tuck onto the left toes and lift the back of the left thigh up towards the ceiling. So we're in a plank pose with this figure 4 shape. Press the floor away. Spin to the outside edge of the left foot, right fingertips sweep high. We're in a side plank on the left side, but option if you want it with the right peace sign fingers to hold onto the right big toe and play with straightening out through the right leg. Ooh. Falling is a part of the practice. So whether or not you've got a grip on the right big toe, we're gonna step the right foot all the way to the top of the mat. Bend into the right knee. Left hand stays down, open the right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Ground into the right heel. With your in-breath, come all the way to standing. Keep the twist open to the right. Using strength of the core, maybe you twist even a little deeper, and then on your inhale, we'll unravel warrior 2. Left foot spins flat, fingertips reach both directions. Next inhale, reverse. Left hand, left thigh, right arm comes up and over. On your exhale, cartwheel it out. Frame out the right foot, plank pose, step back. Your vinyasa, or go straight back, downward facing dog. Come up high onto the toes, deep bend into the knees, and on your exhale, step, walk, hop, float, or play. Feet to the top of the mat. Bend into the knees as you inhale, come up, chair pose, hips back, heart forward, sit deep. And then ground into the heels to come all the way through standing, open up the heart. Exhale, dive it forward, Uttanasana, find your fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. On your exhale, fold, plant the hands, step back. We're coming towards plank pose, but then lift the left toes to a hover above the mat. Left foot is flexed. Elbows bend as we lower halfway. Squeeze left heel into the glutes, and then tap the left toes off to the right side of the mat. Come back through center. As we press up, left knee comes to the left elbow, press floor away. Step the left foot to the outside of left hand. Press the back of the right thigh up towards ceiling. Find a little bit of a bounce with the hips. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then soften, right knee to the floor. Option to squeeze right heel into the glutes as left hand circles around and holds onto the right ankle or foot or wherever you can grab. Left shoulder to spin open. Okay, here's our funky transition into our figure 4 down dog. We're unraveling left hand plants. Lift the right knee. As you send the hips back, bend the right knee and stack the left ankle on top of right knee. So pulling the hips back, pulling the heart back. Take a big inhale here. On your exhale, drop the left knee and the left toes to the floor. Big step forward with the hands and sink the heart down towards the mat. Gazes towards fingertips. Stay here in center, or you could walk both hands over to the right, shifting left shoulder down a bit to get length into the left side body. Using your next in-breath, we're walking hands back through center, wrists underneath the shoulders. We're coming for a high plank, keeping the figure 4 shape. So lift the right knee from the mat. Shift to the outside edge of the right foot, left fingertips open up, side plank, right side. Option to bring left peace fingers to the left big toe and work towards straightening out the left leg. It's okay if the leg does not come all the way straight. Pull the hips up high. And then with or without the grip on the left foot, big step with the left foot to the top of the mat. Bend into the left knee. Right hand stays planted as you open up, find your twist. Press the back of the right thigh up towards the ceiling. Ground into the left heel. In breath, come all the way to standing. Keep the twist. Fingertips reach in both directions as if someone was playing tug-of-war on your hands. Ground through left heel. Inhale, open it up, warrior two. Right foot spins flat. Fingertips reach in both directions. Come into your reverse. Right hand, right thigh, left arm up and over. Lift up and out of the waist. Exhale, cartwheel it out. Frame out the left foot. Plank pose. Step back. Your vinyasa. Meeting eventually back in your downward facing dog. On your next exhale, step, walk, or hop the feet, top of the mat, forward fold. In breath, halfway lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold, let it go. Bend into the knees. In breath, come up. Chair pose. Ground into the heels. Come all the way to standing. Open up the heart. On your exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. In breath, halfway lift and lengthen. On your exhale, fold. Right toes sweep high. Standing split. Shift your weight into the hands. Option if you want it to play with a couple kicks towards catching the balance in handstand. We're eventually going to meet in that three-legged chaturanga shape with left toes to the back of the mat and the elbows bent. Squeeze the right heel into the glutes once you're there. Tap right toes off to the left. Come back through center. Press up. Right knee comes to the right elbow. One breath per movement. Right foot steps to the outside of the right hand. Soften left knee down. Left heel squeezes in as right hand reaches around. Find your twist. In breath, unravel. Right hand to the floor. Lift the left knee. We're coming right to our figure four downward dog. So pull the heart back, pull the hips back. This time, shift straight forward into that figure four plank pose, straightening out through the left leg. Come to the outside edge of the left foot, right fingertips, sweep up high. Option if you want it to bring right peace fingers to the right big toe, opening up into a deeper expression of your Vashisthasana. Big step all the way to the top of the mat. Take your time in the transition. Right foot plants. Bend into the right knee as you circle right fingertips up and over. Ground into the right heel. Come all the way to standing. This time in your twist, take the hands into fists and roll out the wrists. Circling out in one direction and then in the other. On your in-breath, unravel just through center. Circle hands around so they interlace at the low back. Open up the heart. So see if you can traction the thumbs on the back side of the left thigh. On your exhale, humble your warrior. Right shoulder to the inside of the right knee. Drop the weight of the head. And release hands to frame out the right foot. Step back plank pose. Your vinyasa, or go straight back, downward facing dog. Last time, last side for this sequence. On your exhale, step, walk, hop, or play. Feet to the top of the mat, fold. In breath, bend into the knees, come up, chair pose. Ground into the heels, come all the way to standing. Palms touch, open the heart. Exhale, fold, bring it all the way back down, Uttanasana. On your inhale, halfway lift, lengthen spine. On your exhale, fold, left toes sweep high, standing split. All right, same options. We're working towards a three-legged chaturanga, but option to plant the hands and play with kicking up towards handstand, maybe catching the balance along the way, maybe not. But eventually, right toes land to the back of the mat, elbows bend, left foot is to a hover. Squeeze left heel into the glutes. Tap left toes off to the right side of the mat. Come back through center as you press up. Left knee come to left elbow. That's a tough one. Left foot steps to the outside of left hand. Drop the right knee down, one breath per movement. Left knee bends, right hand circles around to hold on to, left hand circles around to hold on to the right toes. Open up the heart. On your in-breath, unravel. Mindful in your transition, so take your time. We're lifting the right knee. Left ankle to stack on top of right knee as we send the hips back. Figure 4, downward dog. Keep the figure 4, straighten out through right leg, shift forward. Last time here, plank pose with the figure 4. Shift to the outside edge of right foot. Left fingertips sweep up high. Option if you want it to bring left peace fingers to left big toe and extend left leg long. With or without the grip of the hand on the foot, big step to the top of the mat. Slow down the transition, left foot plants, right hand stays rooted as left fingertips open up, find your twist. Wrapping lungs around the heart. Ground into the left heel, in breath. Come up, keep the twist. Bend a little deeper into the left knee. Hands into fists, circle out the wrists. Lean the whole upper body back just a little bit, switch direction of your circles. And then as we release just through center, circle hands around to interlace at the low back. Keep the deep bend into the left knee, open up the heart, traction the thumbs down the back side of the right thigh, so towards the right knee. Press the back of the right thigh up towards ceiling, take an in-breath. On your exhale, left shoulder to the inside of the left knee, humble out your warrior. Dropping the weight of the head. Soften the jaw. Inhale here. On your exhale, plant the hands. Plank pose, step back. Your Vinyasa. Meeting eventually in your down dog. Hips back, heart back. Kick the heels down towards the floor. And take one full cycle of breath right here. On your next exhale, step, walk, hop, float, play. However you land the feet to the top of the mat, fold. In breath to halfway lift and lengthen. On your exhale, we're gonna fold, bend into the knees, and the hips down to the heels. So working our way towards some similar shapes from the beginning of our practice. We're gonna send the hips to the floor. This time, lift the feet above the mat, and on your exhale, lower heels and heart to an inch above the floor. Squeeze heels together, squeeze inner thighs together. Come back up, boat pose, either knees bent or legs straight, your choice. We're gonna just move back and forth several times. Lower to a hover, and then back up, Shavasana. Stick with it, find a pace that feels good for you and a rhythm that you can still stay connected to the breath. Even if you're not moving exactly with the breath, there's a connection to it. If you feel pain in the low back, take a break or bring hands to the thighs or bring forearms to the floor for some extra support. Let's go 3 more. Last one. Pause next time you're at a hover. Heels and heart an inch above the floor. Pull the right knee into the chest. Arms out more towards the 45-degree. We're gonna lean open to the left. Right knee over the left side of the body. Come back through center. Swap it out. Left knee in. Lean over to the right. Back through center. Swap it out. Right knee in. Lean open to the left. Back through center. Swap it out. Over to the right. Go 1 more each side. And then come back through center, heels and heart to a hover. Last time here for now. We're gonna roll the shoulders to the mat, come all the way over into your plow pose. Toes behind the head. We're gonna roll back down our spine like we did at the beginning of practice. You have the option of going into a forward fold like we did at the beginning of practice, or of rolling straight into a crow pose by rolling down the spine. As little momentum and as much core control as possible, bend into the knees, roll up, plant the feet, plant the hands, maybe knees to the backs of the arm, heel squeeze into the glutes. Drop the feet to the floor. We're gonna do this 3 times. Hips to the mat. Roll your way down the back body, 1 vertebrae at a time. Legs extend up towards the ceiling, toes tap above the head. And then on your exhale, once again, take your time with it. Cool if you're not with my pace. Roll down the spine. Bend into the knees as you come up. Lift the hips, plant the hands, crow pose or forward fold. Or handstand for that matter. Drop the feet, drop the hips. Again, as little momentum as possible. We're really utilizing core strength and control to come down. Once shoulders meet the mat, knees into the chest, extend the legs up overhead, roll over. Last time here. On your exhale, start to roll back down the spine. Once the hips meet the floor, knees bend, roll up, plant the hands, crow pose, forward fold, handstand, whatever shape you land in, hold it. Could also be a Malasana, which is a yogi squat. Whatever shape you're in, whatever shape you're holding, whether it's handstand, crow, forward fold, Malasana, close your eyes. Take 2 more full cycles of breath. Big breaths in, big breaths back out. We are all gonna meet in a Malasana yogi squat, which means feet land wide towards the edges of the mat, hips drop low. Interlace all 10 fingers, circle out the wrists. Rolling them out in one direction, and then rolling them out in the other. Letting our body know we're gonna start to cool things down. Reach right hand off to the right side of the mat. Left fingertips open up, find a twist. Option to stay here or to find a bind, working left hand behind the back, maybe even working fingers to interlace. Keep spinning left shoulder open. In breath, release. Coming back through center and swapping it out. Left hand to the left side of the mat, right fingertips open up. Stay here, or right hand could come behind the back. You could work towards interlacing fingers. Keep spinning right shoulder open. Release, come back through center. We're gonna come into our forward fold, lifting the hips. Walk the feet hip width distance apart. On your inhale, halfway lift, fill up. We're moving towards our last vinyasa for practice. So exhale, fold, plant the hands if you wanted a handstand or a crow pose or another inversion along the way. Or you could step back, hop back, flow through, meeting eventually in your downward dog. Soften the knees to the floor. Cross over the ankles, coming into a seat. Bring the legs out into a straddle. So legs are wide, toes stay pointed up towards ceiling. This already might feel like a lot, and if so, hang out here. You could also sit up onto something to get the hips a little higher. And as you're ready for it, you could start to walk hands forward. You might eventually work down towards forearms, or you could work your way down towards belly or anywhere in between. As you fold forward, check that the toes are pointing up towards the ceiling so your feet aren't rotating in. Might even take a little bit of engagement in the glutes to keep the toes opened up as you fold upper body towards the mat. Using your next in-breath, walk the hands back towards body. Bend into the knees, bringing bottoms of the feet together. Interlace the fingers except for the thumbs and press the palms forward. From here, we're just gonna lean heart towards the heels and press the palms into an imaginary wall in front of you. Pull the pinkies up as high as you can. And keep inviting knees down towards the floor. This is a big stretch, but it's a really active one. Keep pressing palms forward, inviting knees towards the floor, squeezing heels in towards each other. And then on your in-breath, come back up through center. Strength of the core to roll down onto the back body. Keep the hands to interlace as they are, and extend the arms up overhead once you're down. So bottoms of the feet are together, fingers to interlace except for the thumbs, and palms press up. Now towards an imaginary wall above, behind your head. Release the interlace of the hands. Bring the knees together, bottoms of the feet to the floor. One back bend for our practice today. Bridge or wheel pose. If you are heading into bridge, hands are down by the sides. Feet are hip width distance apart. If you're with me for wheel, palms come to the floor, fingers pointing towards the heels. And then grounding into the hands and the feet. Maybe you press up to the top of the head first, making sure it feels all right. And then eventually you could lift all the way up into your wheel pose. Pressing the floor away from you, so you're lifting up and out of the shoulders. Tractioning heart through the hands, through the shoulders. Stay a breath longer than you want to. Squeeze knees towards each other so feet stay hip width distance apart. And then exhale to roll back down. Take it slow as you release. Walk the feet towards the edges of the mat and let the knees drop in towards each other, just giving the low back a moment to release, to find neutral. So feet are wider than hip width and knees are leaning into each other. Extend the arms out to a T. Keep the feet where they are and then just windshield wiper the legs back and forth a couple of times. Find your way back through neutral. Pull both knees into the chest just for a moment. And at this point, it's any last movements that you'd like before Shavasana. So if you wanted a deeper twist or another back bend or another inversion, eventually extend the legs out long. Arms drop down by the sides, palms face up. And if the urge is to end this video and this class now, I ask and invite you into the practice of Shavasana, where we get to pause and where we get to integrate our practice rather than rushing from one thing to the next to the next. How can we create more space in the in-between? And that's the ask of this practice. That's the ask of Shavasana, creating the space, creating the pause for integration, for reflection, for introspection. Couple of moments here in silence. Invite in a little bit of a deeper inhale. Bigger exhale, back out. And wiggle the fingers, the toes, the wrists, the ankles. And we're working our way towards a comfortable seat, but I ask that you take your time along the way. So could start by kicking through the heels, reaching through the fingertips, and finding this full body stretch. You might pull knees into the chest. You might roll onto a side. There's really no right or wrong way here, as long as you're moving slowly and staying with you. And we'll meet back up in a comfortable seat. Take a moment to set the tone for whatever is going to come next in your day or evening or week or weekend. And bring palms to touch at the heart. And I thank you so much, as always, for showing up to this practice, for showing up to you, and for showing up to this community. And I'll move with you again so soon. Namaste. Thank you so much, friends. Be sure to let me know in the comments what types of classes you would like to see next, if there's any class that you're craving from me and from this account. And I hope to see you at some point in the Kula or in the January meditations or over on my Instagram at Nicole Wild Collective. And I will see you all soon. Thank you.